Hey guys, how y'all doing? Aaron here. This video is about this guy right here, this was one of my best friends in high school, who passed away tragically in a skidoo accident at the age of 15 on February 14th, 1997. I have a lot of stuff that has to do with him. This is from the class of 2000 yearbook, where he was supposed to graduate. I'm actually right there in blue, and he's right in the back of me. It's kind of blurry. And that's our class picture. I'm bending down, and he's right in the back of me. And this picture here was from his last Christmas, 1996. And then right here in this book, he's right there. And I have his autograph right there. He called himself the Cat because he loved Felix Potvin, number 29, from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And after he died, I acquired his yearbook. His math book, sorry. Jason the Cat. His name. And there was my name. And his writing is throughout everywhere in this book. It's just like all these little things, you can clearly tell that it's his writing. Like after he had passed away, I had stolen his math book from his desk because I just wanted to keep something from him, something that was his. I guess now I'll tell you the story about what happened to him. Oh, before I do that, this is what I've been keeping on my nightstand for years. That's his grade 9 picture, which he took about 2 weeks before he passed, and his mother personally gave that to me. She came to school and she personally gave it to me. So I felt really happy because back in 1997 you couldn't really make copies of pictures and stuff like you can do now. There was no digital cameras, nothing like that. And this was his funeral mass card. I have 2 of them. It says Jason Gooden died accidentally February 14th, 1997 at age 15 years. Funeral February 20th, 1997, St. John Bosco Church, Tallahassee, NB. In the background I have the 1 year in memoriam paper that his family put in the local newspaper on the 1 year of his anniversary of his passing. So now I'll tell you a little bit more about him. He was a real nice guy. He was great. He loved Pepsi. Huge Pepsi fan. Always had a can of Pepsi in his hand. He was originally in the French school, but then he transferred to the English school, I think, because he had failed a grade, because he was supposed to be graduated in 1999, and I was in 2000. But since he was held back a grade, he was going to graduate in 2000. So he was a lot of his friends called him Rocky. I personally don't recall calling him that, but many people said that they called him Rocky, and he said "Holy moly" a lot, and that's on the back of his funeral card. It is a prayer, and then it says "Holy moly" because he said that a lot. But he was one of those friends that you have that you just, is a good friend. Like, I remember everything. I remember a girl had written him a love letter, and she had typed it out really, really nice and given it to him, and he was like, what do I do? What do I do? He was only 15 years old. He was sort of seeing somebody else, but he didn't know what to do about this particular girl who had sent him this letter, and he was confused on what to do, and I said, just do whatever you feel like doing, man. If you like her, go out with her. If you don't, well, just tell her that you're not interested. And it's funny too, about 2 weeks or so before his death, on February 14th, 1997, which was Valentine's Day, by the way. Valentine's Day was never the same after that. He got into a fight in the gymnasium with a French kid, and Jay, by all accounts, beat the hell out of him, like pummeled him. And whenever it was time to take class pictures, he took a picture and he had a big black mark under his eye, and that was from Jay. So that was there for everybody to see. And after Jay died, he felt so bad, that guy. I don't want to say his name, but he felt terrible. He's like, I'm glad he kicked my ass. It's like, I feel terrible, terrible. So, yeah, it's... when something like that happens and you're so young, I was only 14 at the time. 82, 92. I would have been 15 that year, but I was 14 whenever he passed. He was on a skidoo with somebody else on the back, and he was with another guy on a skidoo, an older guy, and he was quite a distance from his house, and it was a stormy night. Like, I'll never forget that night. It was a storm unlike any storm that I think I've ever experienced. And I remember I was sitting at home on my computer, playing games or whatever, and I get a call from my friend I go to his house a lot, all the time. In fact, I was going to go to his house that night, but it was Valentine's Day, so he just wanted to be alone with his girlfriend. So I said, that's cool, man, don't worry about it. So suddenly my phone rings, I pick it up, and it's him, and he's like, hey, Aaron, what's up? I'm like, not much, man, just playing games. What about you? He's like, are you sitting down? I said, what do you mean, am I sitting down? He said, you know Jason Gooden? I said, well, yeah, I know Jason Gooden, he's one of my best friends. He's like, well, he's dead. And right there, I dropped the phone. I remember dropping the phone, and I had to catch my breath. I picked the phone back up, and I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I had two sets of friends. I had friends that I partied with a lot, and I had friends that I hung out with and did different things with. Like Jay, we and him were computer friends. We were into bulletin board systems. We were into internet, stuff like that, computers. That was our hobby. But then I also had other friends that I used to go to their house and we'd party and hang out, and girls and guys get together and all that. It's just little teen party type things or whatever. But anyhow, when he told me that he was dead, I dropped the phone. I picked it back up. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? He said, I just went out to the field not far from my house, and Jay had an accident with his skidoo, and he's dead. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. You don't joke around about this. He's like, no, man, I'm serious. Me and my mother went out and we seen him, and he's dead. The ambulance people got there, and he's dead. And I just lost it. I just completely bawled my eyes out. And like I said, it was a stormy night, and I don't know what the hell he was doing. 15 years old, on a skidoo way the hell back where he was killed, because it was quite a distance from his house. You know, he should be at least 16 to ride a skidoo, you know. But I mean, I suppose he probably figured nothing bad would happen. He's been driving skidoos all his life. Well, all his life is short 15 years. He would have been 16 that August. So I remember telling my parents, and my father said that he had seen him or something like that. My father was a paramedic, and the family had went to the hospital to see if Jay's body was transferred there, but it was transferred to another hospital. So if I remember right, my father didn't see him, but somebody of his family had to see it to confirm it was actually his body. But I believe it was at another hospital, not the one in our town. The one at a local city is where they took him to. So it was a stormy night, storming like hell. And my mother was going to bingo, and I said, here, I'm gonna go over to my friend Matt's house. So we went over there. I told him the news, and he just freaked out. And then slowly word got out that it happened, and I talked to my friend Jesse, and he was bawling, just freaking right out, you know. And we all met at Matt's house. We all gathered that night at Matt's house. Most of his friends gathered there because we were just all in shock, in complete shock, not knowing what to do. We're all 14 years old, 15 years old. We're young kids. We didn't know what the hell to do. We were shocked. We were saddened. We were full of grief. We were just shocked beyond belief. And a friend of mine that I talked to this day was actually supposed to go with Jay that night to his house, so he would have been on the skidoo with Jay. But the weird thing is that when Jay, they say that he hit a snowdrift and went through the air, and he crashed head on with a telephone pole. But he had somebody on the back of his skidoo, and I think that person jumped off before they hit, or something like that. I never really got the details because I never wanted to ask the details, but I had heard that, and that doing that so probably saved his life, because he probably would have died as well, because the impact was so strong that Jay was almost wrapped around the pole with his arms. But I think they were not sure if he died instantly. I think the paramedics said that he had a faint pulse when they arrived, but it was very, very faint. Like, he broke his neck. He didn't stand a chance. So he passed. And I was one of the first people to know. I probably knew because of my friend calling me. I knew probably before his parents knew what had happened to him. Now that I think about it, I probably knew before anybody, because my friend went right out there to the field where the accident happened, came back, called me right away, because he knew that I was best friends with Jay, and he knew that he could tell me that, and I didn't know what to say. Like, he didn't know how to break it to me, but he broke it to me pretty hard, now that I think about it. But so yeah, that night we just all gathered at my friend Matt's house, and we all showed up, and my friend who was supposed to go to Jay's house that night, we looked at him and we said, "Holy jeez, man, it's kind of a good thing that you didn't go, because you could have been killed too. It easily could have been you who was killed." And so we were just there, stormy night, not knowing what to do. Phones ringing, calling people. This was on a Friday night, so we had the whole entire weekend to grieve. And then we get back to school on Monday, and we're thinking to ourselves, what the hell are we supposed to do here right now? We lost our best friend, 3 days ago. And, I remember gathering in the gym teacher's classroom, and he was like, "You guys just talk amongst yourselves." He's deceased now, actually. He said, "Talk amongst yourselves. We're not doing no work. We're just gonna talk, and if you have any grief or whatever, and you want to talk to somebody, there's counselors and whatnot." And I remember we were just sitting around, just shaking our head, crying. And then I remember we went to math class, and this I'll never forget, and so will a lot of his friends, friends like me. We were sitting there as close friends, we were all together, and then all of a sudden we looked over at a bunch of girls who never would have gave Jay the time of day, who would never have even said hi to him. You could see one girl start the tears coming, and then suddenly they all start crying. And me and my friends looked at each other and we're like, what the They wouldn't even talk to Jay. They wouldn't give him the time of day, and they're over there crying as if they lost their best friend. No, we lost our best friend. They're just putting on a show. They just want pity, It wasn't right, because not any one of those girls would have talked to Jay. We knew who Jay talked to and who he didn't talk to. We were his best friends. Like, we were all best friends. So we knew that those girls It was ridiculous. It was a stupid sight, and I remember that so much. And it's just like, it's maddening because you don't want maybe they felt like they needed to grieve too, just like the rest of us. But it was kind of like an insult to his friends because we knew who his real friends were and who he cared for and who cared for him. And his funeral was on February 20th, and that was really hard. I can still remember us driving back. I believe almost the whole school walked down to the church, which was quite a ways, and it was cold. February 20th, I got to drive with my father, and it was a hard funeral to be at. So many tears. He had a wake. He was cremated, but he had a wake. But I couldn't go to it. I was too upset, too grief stricken. I couldn't do it. But I went to his funeral and to pay my respects, and yeah, it was the loss of a true friend at such a young age. The loss of a best friend, and he annoyed the hell out of me sometimes with computer stuff. Holy jeez. He used to just go on and on and on and on about computer stuff. He just wouldn't stop. And I said to him, Jay, man, do you ever think of anything but computers? And I think he said to me one time, Pepsi. Pepsi. It's Jay for you. Always had a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey on, and a can of Pepsi. And a zippered black binder with his schoolwork in it. So I'm just making this little video as a little tribute to him. You know, it's going to be 19 years this February since he passed. And I kind of made good memories with February 14th. My wife and I confirmed that we were going out as a couple on February 14th, 2003. And so Valentine's Day means it's our anniversary, plus it's Valentine's Day, but every Valentine's Day I mourn a little bit. I always think of my friend and what might have been, where he would be today, what he'd be doing. You know, he was a really good friend, and I miss him a lot. And I talk about him all the time. And I talk to his brother, I talk to his mother online. And I always have a story to share about him that some people might never have known, but stories that I have personally that I have saved in my memory for his memory. So he was a good friend, and I miss him a lot, and I wish he was still around. I wish I could go back in time, just, warn him or something. But you never know what's gonna happen once you get out there. And I wouldn't say he was reckless. I think it was just a storm, and the visibility was bad, and he was probably in an area he wasn't very familiar with. In the summertime, you can see the pole where he hit, and high up above, his parents put a cross on the pole with his name, and that. It took me about 15 or 16 years to find the pole. Like I had asked his mother, and she tried to direct me to where it was, and eventually one day I found it, and when I did find it, I just broke out in tears crying, because I finally found the spot where my best friend died. And it was hard to grasp. It was just like, oh man, he died right here. The snow was probably higher, and he hit that spot or whatever. But it's terrible because you don't know how to grieve when you're 14 years old and you lose your best friend. It's something that's never left me to this day. I'll always remember him, and like I said, I keep this on my nightstand, and it has been on my nightstand for years, probably for 15, 20 years, not 20 years, but 15 years. Every time I've moved or whatnot, I've always put this on my nightstand, just to honor him and think about him. and know that every day is kind of a day that you shouldn't take for granted because he died so young, 15 years old. Yeah. So Jay, this video is for you, buddy. If you're up there listening, we have so many people miss you, man. You were a good friend. You were a great friend. You never let us down, man. You never let us down. Yeah. So, thanks for watching this video.